Hello and welcome to Banking Transform, the top podcast in retail banking. I'm your host, Jim Marous, owner and CEO of the Digital Bank Report and co-publisher of the Financial Brand. In today's special episode, we're excited to have Suresh Balabsubramanian, Chief Marketing Officer at MeridianLink, joining us to discuss MeridianLink Live 2024 that occurs from April 29th to May 2nd, 2024 at the Gaylord Opryland Resort in Nashville. Over 1,700 attendees will convene to learn how organizations can leverage data, automation, and personalization to optimize the entire customer journey, increase account openings, improve cross-selling, enhance loyalty, and most importantly, impact the bottom line. Every organization understands the vital importance of digitalization as a growth driver in the financial services industry. With the right strategic investments in technology and a customer-centric mindset, financial institutions of all sizes can reap significant benefits in revenue, efficiency, and customer loyalty. The key question is whether organizations are willing to let go of legacy mindsets and legacy processes that brings friction to the customer journey. These questions and answers are the focus of this year's MeridianLink Live event in Nashville, Tennessee. Welcome to the show, Suresh. Before we start, can you share a little bit about your background and your role at MeridianLink, as well as a short backgrounder on MeridianLink Live?
Right. Thank you, Jim. Glad to be on the show. I'm a big fan of yours, and I listen to your podcast every time I go for a run. So I feel like I run with you every day in the morning. So really happy to be here. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for MeridianLink. I've been here just about a year and a half now. And just a quick way of background, I've been in B2B technology and marketing for almost 25, 30 years, global roles at Adobe, ran a global marketing team there. And then the last, I would say 5-7 years, public company CMO, private company CMO. But first time into the industry, and it's been a phenomenal ride in coming in, getting to know MeridianLink, and also our customers, the credit unions and the banks we serve, and the industry at large. So it's been a great year and a half for me as I've gotten settled into my role.
So this is actually your second MeridianLink Live. I think, in fact, I know I've been to more of your events than you have. So I've gone to probably 5 of them in the past. They've grown and grown through the years. Some of the challenges have actually been the same. We're trying to make the customer experience and customer engagement process better and better. But MeridianLink Live, as I said, happens every year. What makes this event memorable for attendees, and what are some of the changes that attendees could expect this year?
Great question. Yes, you're right. I hope to catch up with your record of attendance very quickly. This is my last year. I had just joined the company when the show was just about to start. So for me, it was really, the phrase "drinking from the fire hose" was never more apropos. When I walked in and essentially had 1,000 customer interviews at the same time. But for me, this year has been a very special year. I've been very much involved in all aspects of planning and getting ready for this event. Promises to be a record-breaking event again in terms of the number of attendees that are expected to show up. And in terms of what makes this year memorable and different, and in some ways, as you said, the challenges, the topics that customers grapple with, while they may have a lot of similarity over the years, this year, I think one of the exciting things for us is we've really listened to our customers and the feedback in terms of what they wanted to talk about and architected the agenda that way. They're going to get a chance. We get a good amount of what I call practitioners, people that interact with the systems every day, loan officers, people that are dealing with these things. And when they come to an event like this, they want to hear from others like themselves. So that was a big feedback we got from last time. And so a lot of the sessions this time are customers talking about how they have successfully implemented MeridianLink One platform, how they have gotten value out of that. what are some challenges they've addressed to solve. So it's customers talking to customers. And of course, all the latest innovation from MeridianLink. And then we've also managed to get some good keynotes there from both folks from the industry and outside. And of course, I don't want to not mention this, but Jim, having you at MeridianLink Live, I know, as you mentioned, you've been there a few times before, but I'm really excited to have you, in a new format, I think, for us, where you would be broadcasting from our MeridianLink Live show floor. And of course, also that executive event. I feel like having you there is going to put a different flavor onto the event. Because one of the things this year we're taking a deliberate approach is starting to shape the event so that it appeals to more and more executives. In the past, when the executives have heard about MeridianLink Live, or they call it the user forum, they're like, oh yeah, I send my team there. But I want to start shaping this event so that it appeals more and more to executives. And what better way to start that than having you join us and share some of your latest research and insights. So that's definitely going to be a different thing we're doing this year, and I'm very sure it's going to be a memorable experience for those.
Well, I think from my perspective, one of the things that I really have noticed is so different is that MeridianLink in the past, 5 years ago, really focused almost entirely on the lending process. Well, in the building of your company, you've expanded that because you're really trying to take the friction out of all processes. So you're just as important in the world of new account opening process, digital experiences, cross-sell and upsell, well beyond just the lending product. And I think that's really important to note because those people that remember MeridianLink from the past, maybe you think, well, I run the new account opening process at our financial institution. Well, they're very much in the wheelhouse right now of what MeridianLink does. I think another thing that's important is, as you mentioned, the level of engagement. You want not only the people that are the practitioners, the implementers, but you want the senior officers, because really removing friction from the experience is the number one objective of every financial institution. I think one other thing that I've noticed is you really reach every size organization. You work with the biggest and some of the smallest organizations. Your name came up quite a bit. The MeridianLink's name came up quite a bit at an event I was at last week. And they're much smaller institutions. And so you really serve every organization because your solution is composable, which is really exciting at an event like this to get all different dynamics of who the players are. So in marketing, you try to reach the ideal customer. When it comes to your show, who is the ideal attendee?
Excellent, great question, and thank you for that context. You're absolutely right. We've been in the business for 25 years, and we have, as you mentioned, expanded our footprint from helping people with their loan origination to account opening and other parts, and even data and insight. So you'll see definitely at the ML Live this time a variety of topics that cover all the different aspects of our MeridianLink One platform and how customers have implemented it and gotten value out of it. One of the exciting things about the customers that show up here and the kind of that ideal profile, you're right. In marketing, it's all about the ICP and who we want to attract and who gets value out of it. One of the exciting things about this show, and something that we hear reinforced by people who attend it, is you have different size of companies. Some of them are 100 million under assets under management, $500 million, et cetera. And the other differentiation is also, institutions are on different cores. One of the things in coming to an event like this is we find that there's a variety and a breadth of customers and technologies that they have implemented, that when a practitioner, somebody who's a loan officer or somebody who's implementing these systems, they are ideal profile for this, because they come in and they suddenly realize that they no longer are alone in dealing with the problems that they deal with. They suddenly are in the company of 50 or 100 other people in 100 other institutions that have either faced some of the similar challenges and have successfully solved them, or maybe there are collectively together can go solve something. So that's an exciting part of the conference, where they realize that, hey, I can actually bring some real practical questions that I'm grappling with to this conference, and I find those answers because they have conversations that are part of the concurrent sessions, or they're grabbing lunch or breakfast and they start having a conversation. They go like, oh, how did you solve that problem? And so we find time and again that practitioners walk away with a lot of valuable practical information. One of the other things we're doing to shape, especially starting this year and moving forward, is we want to create a similar dynamic for executives. As you know, right, the C-suite gets lonely, right, and you oftentimes can't just go out there and say, "Hey, I've got this problem. I don't know what to do about it." We want to create an environment where this year we're seeing a very strong uptake of C-suite, chief lending officers, C-level executives, VPs of lending that are starting to show up for the show, because we're starting to create an environment. And starting with one of the sessions we're doing with you as well, Jim, I feel like that brings that executive level profile together, and that's something that we're very excited about. This is going to be a first time we're doing that, and we're taking this forward. Again, similar thing. We want to create an environment where they're able to listen to their peers, maybe get examples of how they have successfully addressed some of these challenges, and what are some good ways in which they can take some lessons learned. Again, I always like to keep conferences material in such a way that when somebody attends that and then they walk away, there are some very practical things that they can go back and do right away. For me, that's an important part of organizing content for any conference, and that's exactly what we're doing. We're kind of appealing to that audience this time.
Well, as you mentioned, Suresh, senior executives, the higher level part of the organization, see a lot of these user conferences as being just that, user conferences that talk about the tactical elements of how to deploy solutions, which is very important. But the reality is, in ignoring the senior executive, we kind of ignore the one part of the process that's the most important. I believe that in order for organizations to truly embrace the solutions that are out there today, organizations have to change culture. They have to, at the very top of the organization, embrace overall change, take risk, and disrupt their organization from what has been the legacy. And these senior executives that you're talking about that we're going to have a session with, the one thing I want to discuss with them is realizing, you know what, you've had nothing but stellar results over the last 10, 20, maybe 30 years of your career. Nothing's really gone wrong. You've always made money, but that's not going to get you through the future. The future is really going to be driven by you as senior executives really embracing the things that are new to you. How do you change a back office process that has always run the same way without senior executive support and engagement? How do you truly look at your employees and realize that what you're bringing in digitally may threaten a lot of employees because they may feel like this is going to replace my job? How do you communicate to your employees about this? So in a way, this is a user conference for senior executives to understand their role in the process, which I will tell you comes above technology and even data with regard to what has to happen first, because you can buy the technology. You can't buy the culture. This has to be driven by senior executives. It's interesting. This is your second, as we talked about, your second MeridianLink Live. When you look back on last year, what was your biggest takeaway?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll definitely address that. I just wanted to maybe address one point from your last comment, the senior executives and that sort of that catalyst for change. And I think one thing I'm particularly excited about is when you think about that executive, what prevents them from doing that change, that risk you talked about, right? The other thing is, how do you address that risk? Well, executives love to be able to talk to others who have either gone down that path and feel and get a level of comfort that, hey, you know what? We took that bold step. We went down this path and things worked out okay. And to me, it's a hard conversation to have for a senior executive to simply just go out and have that. So one of the things I'm very excited about in having you do that session with us is we're creating that safe space, if you will, for executives to talk to each other, to then get the reassurance that, hey, you know what, you can be the catalyst for change. You can take these steps, and this is how it worked out for us. And here's kind of some lessons. So to me, that's particularly exciting, and I encourage everyone that are going to come to that session with that mindset of helping each other go through that. And as an industry, we'll get better, right? As executives kind of learn from each other. So I just kind of wanted to put a point on that.
Yeah.
the benefit of having that kind of a session where we bring the executives together. So in terms of the year behind us and the year ahead, I think for us, we continue to be inspired by our customers and the path that those customers are traveling. For us, and you mentioned this in the opening of your session as well. It's no longer about just one aspect of their system, that digitalization process, or that it's an end-to-end process now. Because whether we like it or not, we're all compared to how easy it is to buy stuff on Amazon, right? So the year for us has been about how do we continue to bring the technology innovation, the data and the analytics that we have gathered over these 25 years, and the expertise that we have built in helping thousands of customers go through that digital progression, if you will, and bring that all to helping the next cohort of customers on their next step of the journey. Because as you've mentioned this in your podcast many times, digital transformation is never done. It's an ongoing process. And in fact, one of the things you're going to hear at MeridianLink Live this time is we are going to be unveiling a framework around digital progression. Because for us, it's not so much about an endpoint. It's not so much about a transformation where you don't suddenly wake up and go like, okay, we're done with transformation. Now we're going to get on with business. It's a continuous progression that customers and prospects are on a journey. They need to know where they are today and where they need to be in order to be successful. So you're going to hear a lot of that. We've done quite a bit of work in that space, primarily driven by our customers, and you're going to hear a lot of that in the event this time. And then I don't think most of your podcasts nowadays can escape the mention of AI. So we'll talk a little bit about AI as well. Yeah. Very much here to stay. But to me, what's particularly exciting about that topic is we're trying to ground that in a more practical reality at MeridianLink Live. We are going to hear from folks that are leading some of those changes at companies like McKinsey. I remember you had a partner from McKinsey on many podcasts ago about talking about AI. So we're going to, again, obviously definitely talk about that, but we're going to ground it in a more practical reality. So we definitely see that be a bigger part of the thought process for our customers. And you'll definitely hear some of those exciting things that we've been working at MeridianLink Live. So those are some of the things that I'm most excited about, and things that we have sort of traveled from last year to this year. And, we're very much looking forward to having another record-breaking year at MeridianLink Live in terms of number of attendees.
So it's interesting. These events, there's so many people, but there's so much information that's shared within people. And that's one of the best things about your event is the interaction between the 1,700 attendees that share their ideas between sessions, at lunches, at dinners, as they get on and off a plane, for instance. And there's actually not much as far as a place to have an event than the Gaylord Opryland Hotel. It's an amazing facility. But, as you look from this year to next and you look forward, you look at growth in numbers. But as you look forward to 2025, MeridianLink's 2025 live event, what do you think is going to be talked about then that's not going to be talked about now?
That's a great question. I think we should take out our crystal balls at this time. I think if we kind of put a little bit of a long range lens out there, right? I think it's no surprise. You talk to so many executives. We talk to folks as well. The road ahead is not going to be a bed of roses, right? We know that we've come into an environment where uncertainty is the name of the game. And at the same time, you've got, these shifts in consumer behaviors. We have people, sort of companies, out competing for deposits, trying to get better at, orchestrating a frictionless process. I think a lot of these trends are going to continue regardless of and nobody can accurately predict when Chair Powell is going to make the announcement for the next interest rate cuts, et cetera. But one of the things that I see exciting for this industry as we embrace and deal with these macro conditions is what can the industry do? What can the constituent credit unions and financial institutions do to get better at managing the things that they can control, right? right? So it's like investing in technology or innovating in that front or bringing more and more insights to their customers to help them make better financial decisions. For me, the exciting thing and the road ahead is as new technologies and new innovations come, how do we make sure that as a financial institution, we embrace the concept of, customer centricity, agility, it's no longer about, I only do this one loan type. This is all I know how to do. I'm going to bet my business on this, right? It's like, how do you as an institution stay agile and meet the needs of your changing consumer base? Or how do you be better prepared to help your consumers as they grapple with growing debt, right? So there are a lot of these kind of trends that we're starting to see. And we'll talk about that in ML Live as well. But for me, the exciting thing and the road ahead is, as much as it sounds uncertain, I think it's an opportunity for institutions to really embrace innovation, embrace that customer centricity mindset, and bring in a dose of agility to really win, right? And then it's bringing all of those things together. It's going to conferences like ML Live. It's talking to other executives who are, going down this path or gone down the path. And I want to bring it back to one of the things you mentioned earlier, which is that mindset, right? Like that the shift happens at the top. So the executives have to get into this mindset of a continuous learning mindset. So which is whether it's learning about new things or learning about what the customers want or learning about how to do things differently. And don't be afraid of embracing change. I think it's your friend. Embrace it. The macro is going to do what it's going to do. But I think if you chart that course with that confidence in terms of, you can handle it. You've got partners like MeridianLink and our ecosystem of 600, 800 partners that we bring to the table. You're in good shape, right? So it's kind of like, who do you surround yourself with to help you be successful? I think is sort of the call out. And I think it's going to be true for the next 12 months as we look ahead to 2025.
Suresh, I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to being part of your event this year. Not only the senior executive session the night before the event actually kicks off, but also being on the floor and interviewing a lot of your solution partners, a lot of your clients, a lot of your prospects to find out what's on their mind, what keeps them up at night, what do they want to see happen at this event this year, but just importantly, what do they want to see at next year's event? This is going to be a great way to have dialogue. It's the way I learn. I mean, it's one of these interesting things that I'm in this business now as much to learn as to share. It's the only way I can keep my mind fresh as to what's going on in the industry. And it's exciting to be at these events where organizations of all sizes show that the definition of getting things done is not defined by asset size, but by leadership style and by the partners you select. No organization can go into this on their own anymore. They've got to work with partners such as MeridianLink to build these composable solutions that can make them move forward at speed and at scale. Suresh, I'm looking forward to seeing you. I'm looking forward to being with your partners and your senior executives. And most importantly, I'm looking forward to seeing what is hot and what's not in the as we look towards the future. I mean, there's a lot going on, and usually we hear more from the people attending than we do from the people on stage. I'm looking forward to that as well. So, Suresh, deadline's getting close. I know your event's just around the corner. How do people register?
Absolutely. Thank you, Jim. I too am very excited to meet you in person finally and look forward to that. Anybody, absolutely, registrations are still open. All you have to do is to go to www.meridianlink.com. There's a huge graphic right on the front page. You can click on it, register, and it's not too late. If you are going to be in the Nashville area in about 2 weeks, or you have the ability to plan your travel, welcome and look forward to seeing you there. And absolutely, I'm looking forward to the conversations with you and having you have those conversations with people that are there. I think it's going to be an exciting show. Great. Thank you so much again, Suresh, for being on the show. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Bye-bye. This has been a production of Evergreen Podcast. A special thank you to our senior producer, Leah Haslage, audio engineer, Chris Fafalius, and video producer, Will Pritz. I'm your host, Jim Marous. Until next time, remember, new technologies are coming at us faster than ever before. The question becomes, will your organization be ready when they do?